Have you ever been out and someone said something about your child and you're just like, really? For me, it's when someone calls my daughter shy. Okay, for starters, the main reason why I want to talk about this is because my daughter is quite reserved. She doesn't talk very much in social settings, especially if she's uncomfortable. And I figured, you know what, let me address this. Let me tell people why I don't like people calling my daughter shy. Now, one of the main reasons is because one day while we were out, she wasn't speaking much to anyone. And when we got home, I was like, oh, what happened, Angel? How come you didn't speak to people while we were out today? And she said to me, I'm shy. This happened when she was about 3, I believe it was. And it made me question myself. I thought to myself, why would a 3-year-old know what it is to be shy? And why would she feel comfortable labeling herself as shy? And I thought to myself again, she must have heard it from someone, somewhere, or people, somewhere, somehow, and she's taken on board, and now she believes she's a shy person. But I know my daughter, she's funny, she's smart, she's very chatty, and she's not particularly shy. Maybe she's just not comfortable in a setting that you've put her in, or she's not comfortable around the people she's around, or she's just observing, taking in her surroundings, getting used to where she is, to see if she actually vibes with you guys, or she doesn't. Now I know society loves confident children. They love when children go up to random strangers saying hello. They're like, oh, he or she is so cute, so confident, and they can do all these things. And society praises that, and they tend to shun people that they view as shy. Maybe not shun, but they tend to leave them in the background or ignore them if they can. With a group of children, society will pay attention to the kids that are loud, funny, talking to everyone, and they will leave the quiet children in the background. And they're often willing to leave them to their own devices, borderline ignoring them. And society also views children they call shy as having underdeveloped social skills. That isn't the case, or shall I say, that isn't always the case. Maybe the child just doesn't like you or where you have put them. I'm against labeling children's social behaviour, because it's not an attempt to fix it. It's an attempt to label it and get other people to accept it for what it is without trying to actually understand it or fix it. Labels tend to describe people as opposed to individual behaviour. Like they will say, she's a shy child, she's a rude child, he's a bad child, he's a naughty child, as opposed to he's exhibiting naughty behaviour, shy behaviour, reserved behaviour. When you label someone or people, it tends to be taken as part of their personality and who they are, as opposed to just individual behaviours that they exhibit, which is why I'm fully against labelling people or children. But in terms of labels, that's something I'm willing to cover in another topic entirely, but labelling my child shy is something that I would not allow. Now let's actually look at the connotations that are associated with labelling the child shy. You start to think of the child as anxious, awkward, fearful, timid, whereas in reality, the child may be none of these things. The child may just not want to be where they have been put, or they may just not be comfortable, and they may not have the capacity to communicate this to whoever they're with. But that being said, there are a bunch of other adjectives you can use to describe a child who may not necessarily socialise and how, in the manner you expect them to socialise. You can call them thoughtful, reflective, reserved, conservative, cautious, self-spoken, introspective, introverted, quiet. These all work perfectly fine. The first one is the self-image. Children are very aware calling them shy is not a compliment. It's used to describe them, and they take it on board because they believe that what they're doing is actually incorrect and it's wrong. And they will start to believe that they are indeed shy and maybe not as wanted as other children. They may also feel there's something wrong with them, which is definitely not the case. In addition to this, it impacts their abilities to manage this behaviour that you've long labelled as shy. They may have different coping mechanisms, but since you've long labelled them as shy, they may be unwilling to actually follow through these mechanisms, or unwilling to actually learn new ones to overcome this. So now all you've done is you've labelled the child as shy, they've taken on board, and they now grow up and remain shy because society and yourself, even you as a parent, have labelled and accepted them as being shy. The second reason why I don't like it is people assume it needs to be fixed. They say things like, oh, they need to get brought out of their shell, they need to change, they need to do this, they need to do that. And if the child hears this or is aware of this, they will take it on board as there's something actually wrong with them that needs to be fixed. And what this does is it undermines the trust they have in themselves, or the trust they are developing in themselves. Forgive my shiny forehead, it's quite warm outside, and for some reason I chose to wear a jumper today to record. Third reason why I don't like it is it's actually quite embarrassing for the child. Imagine actually being a shy person, or what is certified as a shy person, and now you've chosen to announce to the child and to the people around, oh, why is your child so shy? The child will find it embarrassing, and then they're now even less likely to want to socialize, and they're going to just retract even more so into their shell. And this is your doing. And people don't tend to just point out to the parent, they tend to point it out in front of an audience. I don't know why that is, but it's always, oh, your child is so shy. Don't do that. You are technically shaming them for who they are. And the final reason why is you may not actually understand what is going on in the child's mind, in the child's life, or just in general. Calling a child shy is very, very much one-dimensional. For example, the child could be overstimulated where they are. Maybe they're not comfortable around such hyperactive children. Maybe your children are just too much, really, and my child doesn't like that. My child will feel a lot comfortable around calmer children similar to her. So I will happily and willingly take her to a place where she feels comfortable to express herself openly and freely. Accepting the label shy could also mean you fail to see other traits your child has. While they may be quiet, they may also be very thoughtful. How about you try asking what they think about certain things? Ask them what's on their mind. You may be surprised at what comes out of their mouths, to be honest. The child could also just be analysing the situation as opposed to just jumping right at the deep end. Yes, I do know some children, as soon as they get to a social area, it could be a playground, another person's house, soft play, take them off their leash and off they go, and they don't return until when they want. But some children like to analyse what's happening, choose their own little play area, their own little spot where they feel comfortable and do their own thing. Children are different. Try not to label them, it's not nice. And I won't stand for it personally. You need to keep in mind that how children choose to relate to other people is right for them, even though it may not be right for you. Don't try and change them, let them develop on their own. Encourage them, yes. Talk to them, yes. Advise them, yes. But don't label them. Don't label them shy, don't label them naughty, don't label them anything, because they may see as something being wrong with them. And what ends up happening is they stop being themselves. Or, even worse, they're no longer themselves with you, their parent. You also need to keep in mind, your child may not be the problem, it could be the environment you've put them in. If your child is not comfortable, ask them where they'll feel comfortable, ask them if they'd like to go home, ask them what they would like to do in that moment, or how you can help them to feel more comfortable in that environment. Again, don't make your child a problem. People who are quiet tend to have their own advantages and their own skills. Don't undermine that, don't underestimate that, because they will surprise you. But if anything, if you want them to be more outgoing, if you want them to believe in themselves more, if you want them to, I guess, fit into the crowd, or fit into what you expect from a child, what I would do is use positive affirmations to build them up. If you believe your child is actually of a shy nature, build them up. I'm confident, I'm brave, I'm strong, I believe in myself, I love myself, I trust in my abilities. There are a number of affirmations you can use with your child to encourage them to come out of their shell if that's what you're worried about. But just don't go about labeling children shy, especially not my child. That's all I have for you today, guys. I know it was very, very brief, but this is something that's been annoying me for quite some time, and I'm talking about years. So I'm going to leave you guys how I always leave you guys, and that's to make a decision that future you will be grateful for. Future you will be grateful for not letting people call your child shy. Future you will be grateful for you yourself not labeling your child shy. Not just future you, your child as well in future. So until next time, guys.